Hi everyone. Today I'm walking you through what to plant in June for fast summer harvests. Now I'm giving it to you straight. This is not the month to waste space on slow growing crops while your harvest basket stays empty. Your plants that look fine now will suddenly slow down from summer stress. Worse yet, plant the wrong crops in June and you can lose weeks of growing time. And one crop I'm going to show you, most gardeners underestimate it, but it thrives in brutal summer heat. First up for June are cucumbers. Now here's where I want you to think about June planting differently. Not every crop earns its space this month. In June, we're planting power producers, crops that can handle the heat, make the most of warm soil, and give you a lot back for the space they take up. Now, cucumbers are right at the top of the list because they're one of the fastest crops you can plant in June. They germinate fast, direct sow easily, and depending on the variety, you can actually go from seed to cucumbers you're picking in about 50 to 60 days. And homegrown cucumbers in the summer are just so different than store-bought. You're gonna absolutely love growing your own just like I do. They're crisp, they're cool, straight from the vine, sliced into salads, tucked into sandwiches, chopped up with a little vinegar and salt, or just eaten right here in the garden. They're so good, one of my favorite summer snacks. Now, these are the kind of fast harvests that are so rewarding. And the best part, you can direct sow them right outside in the garden. No grow lights, no seed starting shelf, no babysitting little transplants for weeks. This is quick and simple. Seeds, warm soil, water, and something for the vines to climb on. It doesn't get any easier than this. Now I know you might be thinking, but Kim, wait a second, my garden's already full. So is mine. But here's what I do. Use the space where you just pulled out lettuce, spinach, peas, or other spring crops that are done. And then plant seeds in open spots in a raised bed, at the base of a support, or in a container with trellises or supports. Now for containers, a 5-gallon pot works great for 1 to 2 cucumber plants, but a 10-gallon is enough space for 2 to 3 plants growing up a support. All you have to do is plant the seeds about 1/2 inch deep, water them in well, and keep them moist until they sprout, which should be in about 5 to 7 days and temperatures of 80 to 90 degrees. Now you might already have cucumber plants growing in your garden. Good, plant another round anyway. The cucumber plants you started earlier in the spring can look great 1 week like these do here, but when summer arrives in full force, heat, pests, and powdery mildew, or inconsistent watering can all hit at the same time. And that's when those vines that look so promising at first start giving you 1 or 2 cucumbers instead of steady harvests. The key to keep the harvest rolling in here in June is don't wait until those old vines wear out. Plant a new round now in June while the soil is warm, so you have new plants coming in fast and you keep the harvest rolling in. Super important for June. And plant them near supports from the get-go. You'll be so glad that you did. This gives the plant better airflow, so you have less pest and disease issues, and it makes the cucumbers easier to seed to harvest and keeps those vines a lot healthier. Now here's what not to do with cucumbers once they start producing. Don't let them get too big before you harvest. Cucumbers like to hide under vines. Look under the leaves and harvest the cucumbers while they're still small. For most varieties, that's about 4 to 6 inches. Get so much better flavor. They're so much more tender that way. When they get oversized, they tend to get giant and seedy, and that sends a message to the plant that I've done my job. I can stop growing now, and I can stop producing new cucumbers. And it starts putting a whole lot less energy into new flowers and fresh cucumbers. So what you gotta do is check the vines every couple of days and pick cucumbers while they're still small. They're super tasty this way, usually around 6 to 8 inches, depending on the variety that you're growing. Now, if you do find a big one hiding under the leaves, pick it right away. It's pulling energy from the plant. Plant another round of cucumbers in June, not later. Get those seeds in this month while the soil is warm and you've got fresh cucumber plants coming on fast, right when summer harvests usually start slowing down. Now that's smart gardening. Next up for June are beans. Now beans are one of the fastest crops to plant in June when you want something you can pick really quickly. Now if you just pulled out cool weather crops like I did here, don't leave these spaces empty. Put your beans in. Homegrown beans are so very tasty, crisp, fresh, right from the garden, so easy to grow by the handful, and they grow straight from the garden right onto your dinner plate, which is really fun. And this is exactly the kind of fast summer harvest we're after this month. Now for the fastest bean harvest, go with bush beans like Royal Burgundy or Slenderette from my bean seed collection. The great thing about bush beans is they stay compact, they work great in raised beds or in containers, and in warm June soil, you can usually be harvesting them in about 6 to 8 weeks. Plant the seeds about 1 inch deep and about 3 to 4 inches apart. A nice little light support is really nice for bush beans, just to kind of hold the plants up when they get heavy with beans. So keep the soil moist while they germinate, and in warm soil, you'll usually see them popping up in about a week or less. Now, if you want beans that keep producing longer through the summer, plant pole or runner beans at the base of the support. I've got some of my favorite scarlet runner beans right here. They look absolutely beautiful in the garden. They do need a strong, sturdy support to climb up, but once they get going, they can keep on producing for months. So if you want beans coming in through summer, don't just plant one round and stop. Plant a few rows or a container now, and then plant another round in about 2 to 3 weeks. That way, when the first planting is done and starts slowing down, the next one is already coming in right behind it. That's how you keep summer harvest coming in instead of getting one quick round and then waiting around for more. Now here's a mistake that can slow beans down very, very fast. Don't let the pods get too big, tough, and seedy before you pick them. Now I've done this with my scarlet runner beans right here many times because they grow fast, they look gorgeous hanging here, but if you miss a few days, all of a sudden you waited too long. Once the seeds inside starts to bulge, they get tough and seedy, and the plant shifts its energy into seed production instead of more tender beans. So when beans start producing, make sure you check them every day or two. Lift the leaves and the vines so you can see all the beans that are underneath. They really like to hide under there, just like the cucumbers do. And pick them when the pods are full size, but still tender and crisp, before the seeds inside start to bulge. That's how you keep the bean harvest rolling in. So far we've covered cucumbers and beans, two of my favorite go-to summer power producers. Now all the seeds we're talking about today here in the June plant video, I put together in a new Power Producer seed bundle. So you can just grab it and plant all these seeds in your garden this month with just this bundle. And the bundle right now is 50% off now with the code POWER50 at CaliKimGardenandHome.com. And thanks so much for supporting our small family seed shop. Now let's move over to our next June Power Producer, summer squash. This one loves the heat, and once it gets going, it can give you a lot of food fast, often in about 6 weeks, depending on the variety. Zucchini on the grill, yellow squash on the skillet, scallop squash roasted up for dinner. Oh, so good. And then summer squash does what summer squash does. All of a sudden, you're handing it to neighbors, friends, the delivery driver, anyone who stands still long enough. You know what I mean? And just like cucumbers and beans, you can direct sow this one right outside. Plant seeds about 1 inch or so deep, water them in well, and keep the top layer moist until they sprout. You're learning the drill here, right? Squash is so easy to grow, but it does need some space. For bush types, give each plant about 2 to 3 feet if you can. In containers, go big, at least a 10 to 15 gallon for one summer squash plant. Now this is where a variety like Cocozelle from my squash seed collection works great in a planter or in containers. And that collection is also part of the new Power Producer seed bundle. Scallop squash is a great one for a raised bed because it stays a little bit more manageable. It's a smaller plant and it can spill over the side of the raised bed and gives you these fun little tender squash that you can pick while they're still small and tender. And here's a little space-saving tip for you. Train your bush squash to grow up, to grow vertical. All you have to do is use a sturdy tomato cage, a stake, or even a trellis like this one, and guide the main stem upward as it grows. As the plant gets taller, what I do is I remove some of the oldest lower leaves below the first flowers. And taking them off helps manage the space, opens up the base, provides more airflow, and makes it easier to see what you need to harvest and keeps the plant healthier, which is huge for squash. Now here's why I like planting another round of squash in June. It can look amazing in the early part of the summer, but then unfortunately it always happens, summer problems really stack up fast. The powdery mildew moves in, you might even have squash bugs, and in some parts of the country, squash vine borers are a humongous problem. It's so frustrating when a big, beautiful plant starts looking rough and gives you nowhere near the harvest you expected. We'll get to those squash problems in another video, but for this one, don't wait until you're trying to rescue a plant that already has problems. Do yourself a favor, plant a fresh round of summer squash seeds now. And once squash starts producing, this is the huge summer payoff, so don't waste it. Keep up with the harvesting. Zucchini and yellow squash are best picked around 6 to 8 inches. Scallop squash is best harvested smaller, around 2 to 4 inches in diameter while it's still tender and sweet. And don't forget to check every day or two. Lift up the leaves just like you do with cucumbers because squash can go from perfect to absolutely giant overnight. And tell me if I'm wrong here, but we've all found that baseball bat-sized zucchini hiding under the leaves, haven't you? So plant squash in June and you've got fast baskets of beautiful squash coming in without all those big summer harvest gaps. The crop that most gardeners underestimate in June is the one that actually loves the brutal summer heat. In fact, it thrives in it, and that is okra. This is one of the few summer crops that get happier the hotter it gets, even in triple-digit temperatures. Now, when all your other plants start struggling with the summer heat in the garden, okra can still keep growing because heat is what it loves. If you've never grown okra before, I highly recommend trying it in June. The flowers are absolutely gorgeous. They're big, soft, kind of hibiscus-looking blooms that give the plant a really tropical garden look. It's such a gorgeous plant. And then the pods start coming on, and wow, do they come on quickly once the plant gets going. Now you gotta pick it small. As long as you pick it small, okra is tender and good, grilled, roasted, air fried, sliced into a quick skillet meal, or even eaten raw right off the plant in the garden. Now for June planting, put okra in your warmest, sunniest spot. It's gonna love it. Plant seeds about a ½ inch deep and give the plants about 12 to 18 inches of space. Now, I've got 3 tiny okra plants just getting going right here. And what I'll do is let the strongest one grow and thin out the others or transplant them to another area of the garden. Now okra grows upright, so it doesn't sprawl all over the bed. You don't need a support or a trellis for it. Makes a really good fit along the back of a raised bed to kind of give a nice thriller type of view here along the back, in a sunny corner or in a large container about 10 gallons or so. Now this here is Hill Country Red Okra, originating from Texas, which I just added to my late summer garden seed collection, and that collection is part of the summer harvest seed bundle. Now once okra gets established, you can usually start harvesting it in about 50 to 60 days. So it's great for fast summer harvest, depending on the variety and of course, how warm your weather is. Now that's why okra really earns its spot in a June garden, and it keeps giving you lots and lots of food when all your other summer crops start slowing down. June's the month to get these fast summer crops in the ground. Cucumbers, beans, squash, and okra. The ones that actually like the heat and can keep food coming into the kitchen. Pick one and plant this week. And tell me in the comments which one you're planting first. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time in the garden.